Hey bud, what are you doing?
Playing PS4.
Oh, okay, cool.
What was it that you played as a kid?
Oh, did you want to play? Let me show you how to make it. Let's build a RetroPie gaming system on the cheap. So this right here is a computer, believe it or not. It's the size of a cigarette lighter. It's a Raspberry Pi Zero W. Zero is the version, W just means it has wireless. It takes a micro SD card, basically that's what's going to hold your operating system. HDMI and two different USB ports, micro USB. One is going to be for power, one's going to be for data. In our case, it's going to be a game controller. The only other things you're going to need, really, there's not much to it. An HDMI cord. I use an adapter because, again, this goes to micro, and most TVs have regular size. I got a couple SD cards here. Controller again. I have this little hub. I think I maybe spent $5 on it, if that. An adapter to go from a regular USB to micro. And then this cord right here is for the controller. The only other thing that I have that you may or may not need is a USB dongle, and what this does is lets me use a full-size memory card into a USB. So this is like going a step back in time. I was able to play Nintendo with my wife all weekend long. My kids get to see the games we grew up with, and believe it or not, my kids that play PlayStation 4 all day long, every day, can't really do very well at Nintendo. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun, and I just want to show you how to make it very inexpensive. Alright, let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to raspberrypi.org or .organization. It's only .org. That's all I can fit in my address. What you're going to do here is, this is what's going to give you the Raspberry Pi operating system. It's a super simple way to put the operating system onto the SD card. So I've already downloaded this to save some time. It's right here. This is the imager. This is how it works. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my SD card, I'm going to stick it in my slot right there. I'm going to choose my operating system. We're building a RetroPie gaming station. So let's go with RetroPie. We want the newest one, and make sure you match your Raspberry Pi that you're using. In this case, I'm showing you how to use a Raspberry Pi Zero. So we're going to pick the first one. It's Raspberry Pi 1/0. So once we've chosen the operating system, it's going to ask you to choose your storage. If you have anything else hooked up, external hard drive, anything like that, it's going to show it here. So just pay attention to what you put in. And the next thing you're going to do is write. So it's going to tell you right now that it's going to format the card for you. So again, this makes it so simple. If there's anything on your card, I advise you to check before you use a card. Make sure it's empty. Make sure there's nothing you want to lose. Go ahead and click yes once you confirm that. Again, okay, look away for this section. So it's just going to ask me for my password. I'm going to tell it, and there you go. It's started. Alright, while that finished writing, let's go ahead and hook up the Pi. Like I said, it's got HDMI ports. I went ahead and I just have an extra screen. It could be a TV screen, it could be a monitor. The computer doesn't matter as long as it's got HDMI. So I'm going to hook up my HDMI here. I have a little, like I showed you, a little adapter. I'm going to hook that up here. And just remember, to the right is power. If you can't remember, right above it there's a PRW, and the USB has a USB above it as well on the cord. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and connect my controller to here. Connect this to the 4-way USB. And the only reason I recommend this, we could go straight from here to here, and actually I'll do that for you, because that way I can show that you don't really need this. So basically all I have is an adapter then that goes from USB to micro USB, and the only thing we'll need now is a little bit of power. And for power, I'm going to use a phone charger. It's that simple. Everyone has an old phone charger. This is a micro USB. It's from one of my kids' Androids. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in here. Now I'm not going to plug it into the wall quite yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to check and make sure our SD card is done. And we're going to take that out and load it in. Over here our SD card is done. This is a Mac, so I got to go in here and tell her to eject. And actually I don't. It's already done. It's ready to pull. I apologize for that time taking up. I'm going to take my SD card that I just made using the imager, and I'm going to pop it in the side right here. I'm going to go ahead and power on our screen, and now I'm going to plug this guy in. Alright, so that's one good sign that you're going to see right there, is that you're going to get a rainbow screen, and right here it's going to go ahead and tell you, welcome to Raspbian, which is Raspberry Pi's OS. It's referred to as Raspbian. And now it's going to do a whole bunch of work to get it set up. Now, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that the more times you run this, the faster it's going to be. That's just for me, and it could be like a country road. The more you go down it, you know, the more you get used to it kind of thing. But I believe the more times you use your system, the faster it's going to be. While this is loading, I just want to show you, a little, for $5, you can get yourself a little case. And what this will do is this will allow you to mount the Raspberry Pi inside of a case like that. I don't want to do it right now while it's on and power's running through it, but what that also does is it allows you to have a little case and a fan. Now, it's not going to get hot with what we're doing, but when my wife and I and the kids were playing this weekend, it does tend to get hot. So I went ahead and I kicked the fan on. To power these fans, it's really simple. The red goes to pin number 4. If you look at the right hand side, these are all even. The left hand side is odd. So it's going to start with number 1 at the top on the left, number 2 on the right, 3 on the left, 4 on the right. So what you're going to do is pin number 4 gets the red wire, pin number 6 gets the black for a ground, and it's going to come with instructions anyway. And these are really simple to put together and very, very inexpensive. I work on airplanes and have a lot of kids. I don't have a lot of money, so something like this is great, and that's, again, why I want to share it with others. So you can see that it's already loading. Emulation Station is one of the things that it's based on. Right now it's going to ask me to configure my controller. So I'm going to turn my controller on. Hold A on your device to configure it. A in our case, we're going to work with Nintendo, so A in our case, we're only going to have 2 buttons. This is going to be A. So I'm going to go ahead and hold that. It knew what controller it was, and now I'm just going to go through what it says. So D-pad up, D-pad down, left, right, start, select, and then A, B, and it's showing you on the screen which buttons to push. And then left shoulder would be this, right shoulder, left trigger, right trigger. Left thumb means to push down on the hat, push down on the right hat, left up, left down, left left, left right. Up, down, left, right, and a hotkey. Hotkey is important. I like to make that one. Now the point about the hotkey is, if you ever want to exit a game, you're going to use your hotkey and start to exit a game. So, all right. So we should be good to go here. And I believe it's loading. There we go. So now you got RetroPie. Now, if you had ROMs on here, or let's say games, copies of your games that you've owned in the past, they would show right now. So what this allows you to do, you can go through here, you can set up Wi-Fi, you can change the splash screen, and in this, O selects all the time. So you want to use O as a select, the X actually goes back. Alright, so here we go, different splash screens to choose from, and I'm not going to do that now. What we're going to do now is just cancel and go back, because I want to show you how to start playing some video games. We can do another video on that if you guys like. Just put it into the comments and ask. We'll run through any of this stuff that you guys would like to. So there's Raspberry Pi, Retro, Arc. That's if you had that system. Again, this one allows you to play online. There's a whole bunch of different things on here. You can transfer files within the system. RetroPie setup, show IP, there's splash screens, the whole 9 yards. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to get you running. So, we've already loaded the OS onto here, the operating system, I apologize, RetroPie. We've already got it up and running. So what we're going to do now is we're going to load some games. Let's add some games to our system. I'm going to take another SD card, and you can do this with a USB stick, you can do this many other ways. So I just happen to have SD cards laying around. I have an adapter and I have a USB dongle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that, I'm going to stick it in my computer, I'm going to shrink this down. Now what you need to do here is, this is an empty, I've already formatted it. If you have Windows, it has formatting in itself. Basically all I'm going to do here is create a folder. Now this folder just needs to be called RetroPie. You don't need to capitalize, you don't need anything like that. So I'm going to make a folder called RetroPie. It is literally this simple. So I made my folder, I'm copying, I'm going to eject my disk. So again, all I did was I took an empty SD, empty USB stick, either of the or, put a folder on it. I'm putting it into a USB dongle. I'm going to take the dongle and then I'm going to stick it into my computer, or basically the Raspberry Pi, so that it can read. And that's where the 4-way comes in. So the 4-way comes in so I can use this and a PlayStation 4 controller, and in this case a PlayStation 3 controller. Alright, I've taken my USB stick that's got my memory card in it. I've added to my 4-way. This is my PlayStation controller. I'm going to go ahead and connect this to that adapter, and we're going to reapply power. Now I will tell you how to shut this down without pulling the cord. When I was new to Raspberry Pis, I used to just pull the power cord. That's probably not the best thing to do. You can corrupt your operating system SD card, or you could corrupt this for that matter. Now what it's going to do in this case, remember we're setting up to put games onto our system now. We've already got our system, it's up and running. Like, that's done. We're past that. We're about to put some games on here. So what this is going to do, when I created that folder, our little Raspberry Pi computer here is going to see that folder, and it's going to say, okay, here's what's supposed to be in that folder. Alright, so that's what it's going to do. So what you need to do is let your USB do its thing, and this may take a minute or two. But basically when this light stops flashing and showing you activity, that's when you know it's done. So at this point right here, I can see it's flashing. It's probably starting to read that it found a folder, and then it's going to start adding different folders within that one. So, and I'll show you what that is as soon as it's done. So let's let it do its thing, and then we'll pick up right after that. Got the SD card. We're going to stick it in the laptop. Let's see what we got on here. Alright, so we're going to open her up. There's my RetroPie folder, and let's see what's in it. Well, there you go. So we did something right. We got BIOS, we got configs, and we got ROMs. So right here in ROMs, if you open up this folder, you're going to see now you got about, I think it's 26 or so different game stations that you can play on. Right now we're going to focus on the Nintendo Entertainment Center, or system. Nintendo Entertainment System. Let's say it correctly. This is YouTube. So anyway, NES. Alright, now I don't want to do anything illegal, so I don't want to tell you where to go to find games or how to make your own game. But basically, if you do a Google, you can find games. Alright, now I do have a couple on here that we're just going to use for examples. So let's just go with, oh yeah, good one, Top Gun. So we're going to take Top Gun, we're going to move it over here to my NES folder. So there you see Top Gun underneath NES. We're going to close this out. And I'm just doing one game. Again, you could fill that whole card. You can buy cards that are filled with games. I don't recommend that because you don't know what's really being on there, or what's really being put on there. Alright, so I ejected my card. We're going to take this back out. We're going to stick it into our Raspberry Pi. Alright, in she goes. And we're going to reapply power, basically turn it on. Now you can buy power supplies. Again, I'm trying to show you how to do this on the cheap, so I just use a phone charger. You can buy a power supply that has an on-off switch. That I got nothing against that. All I'm doing, again, man, I got too many kids. I work hard for my money, so I try to do stuff without spending a lot of it. So again, we're going to let this go through. This is called a script. This is Linux based, so it's a lot like Windows. I can show you in another video later on how to use it like a desktop, because this can truly be your computer. You can use this little guy right here to do many things. They offer Raspberry Pi 400, Raspberry Pi 4. They have onboard memory. You can go on and on. Yeah, there's so many things you can do with a Raspberry Pi. Like, I can't say enough. I mean, I am a nerd, but still, I like to geek out and tweak with those things and build stuff just to build it. So we're going to let this load, and you're going to see the biggest difference when this thing pops up. It should tell you, or it should tell us rather, that we have one Nintendo game. That's exactly what we're looking for, and if we see that, then we did good, and we'll see how if it works. Alright, here we go. Oh, emulation. Oh, see, it always makes you wait. There we go, I just saw it. It said 1 of 2. There you go, Nintendo, and underneath of it, look at that. One game available. We did something right. So I'm going to go ahead and first turn my controller on. It's on. Scoot back over to Nintendo. And we're going to select Nintendo. And there you go. Talk done. Now we did own this game. So technically this is not illegal. We owned the game. It was just a software backup. I don't know what happened to the game. I lost it. Good thing I got it back up. So here it goes. If you want to change anything in the game, you can press A button now to configure, and what that does, it brings up its own menu. We don't want to do that. We want to pretend that we have a Nintendo Entertainment System. And here you go. 1987. I'm telling you what, is this a step back in time? Alright, there you go. Well, like I said, there's so many other things you can do. So many things you can add to this. You could have a million games on this thing. You could fill it with Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PSP, Atari. I do want to add that if you do look for like a PlayStation 2 game or PlayStation 1 games, they are going to pull a little bit more memory. I would recommend maybe moving up to a different Raspberry, maybe a Raspberry 4 with a lot more onboard memory. But all in all, for what I figured out to be $17. If you take a look here, I kind of pulled this up. I put this together and put it all into a cart. So right here, if you go to Adafruit, what is it, .com, Adafruit.com, so adafruit.com, $10, Raspberry Pi Zero. You can have, those don't come with the pins, but you can buy it with the pins, so there's no need to solder if you don't know how to solder. Again, and it's just a couple dollars more. A case it shows here for $4.75, like I showed you, similar to this, less than $5. And then they have a little, the USB hub that I was showing you earlier as well. So the USB from full size to micro, even on here, it's only $5.95. So what that comes to, $17.95. $17.95 to have your own gaming station. There you go, I did it. You're done. That's my first YouTube video. My daughter Willow's behind the lens. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, tell us why. Hell, maybe there's something else you want us to do. You want to learn more? Is there something else I can teach you? Let us know. Thank you again for watching.